Hungary kills the Rothschild banks. Ordered to vacate country. JP sent me this link on a website called Political Velcraft. Veil of Politics, it says. And you can tell right away that this ain't no Nazi nightly news network bullshit. This is the real deal. A picture of Mayor Rothschild on the cover. You know, he changed his name to Rothschild, which means red shield in German. His real name is Bauer. Benjamin Fullevit says that these are not real Jews. So before you go around hating Jews, maybe you ought to understand that these are not Jews. According to Benjamin Fulford. In red it says, End Rothschild. People, power, revolution. And then his famous quote, Give me control over a nation's currency, and I care not who makes its laws. Baron M.A. Rothschild. M stands for mayor. M-E-Y-E-R. At the bottom it says 100% of all modern-day financial disasters and war manufactured by the Rothschild family. Are they hated or what? When you study the history of the things that these 4 or 5 brothers did in Europe to kick ass and conquer everything, they were some very clever people. And they took over. And they have never let go of their grip. And that's why this article is so amazing. Thank you, JP. Greatly appreciated. Hungary takes a bold move to kill the Rothschilds' banks, ordering them to vacate the country. Is this real, or did someone make this up? I have 27 slides. Let's move to the next one. Hungary is making history of the first order, along with Iceland and Russia. Russia is kicking out their central bank. I knew that Iceland did some very courageous things. But Russia? Duh? Not since the 1930s in Germany has a major European country dared to escape from the clutches of the Rothschild-controlled international banking cartels. This is stupendous news that should encourage nationalist patriots worldwide to increase the fight for freedom from financial tyranny. I told JP that we are going to kick their ass because JP was sounding like a defeatist, like they already had us whipped. And I like Yogi Berra's expression, it ain't over till it's over. And this ain't over, Rover, so move over and let Jimmy take over. And this news today is encouraging. It gives us all hope. We are going to be free of this group that controls everything. We're going to break up the power because power corrupts. And when the number of countries in the world equals the number of people in the world, I will be satisfied. Until then, I will be fighting this fight. They have some articles here. The third one is very interesting. So is the second, I see. But let me read the third first. France indicts geezer David de Rothschild for bank fraud. Now, you may recall that Iran just executed one of the Rothschilds for a $5 billion fraud, and now France is kicking ass. And a manhunt on as judge orders police to track down Rothschild, June 2015. The world is in a revolution, people, and you can help push us over the mark by spreading the truth. Victory is sweet when we defeat the elite by sending a tweet. You like that? I came up with that this morning. You can use it. Victory is sweet when we defeat the elite by sending a tweet. I have no copyrights on anything I do. Anyone can use my videos without permission. I don't want royalties. You keep them. I want the truth out. It is a burning desire that lights my fire, and it doesn't require compensation to me. The next slide has a couple more articles of interest. Bitcoin on C-SPAN, the future of currency. Excellent video. And Bitcoin 2014, get out of the Rothschild matrix and into the citizen's medium of exchange. That's interesting. Let's go back to the top of the page because I missed one. Breaking. International Criminal Court proceeds on charges of genocide against Iraqi ex-Prime Minister Nouri Maliki. I want to see every violation of the Geneva Conventions prosecuted so that no soldier dare commit war crimes. Even if there's a gun to his head, he must say no. The atrocities committed in Iraq are unforgivable, and I want to see those who were involved prosecuted. When we had war crimes trials before, people were hanged publicly. I want to see George Bush dangle from the end of a rope, along with Ronald Rumsfeld and his sidekick, Dickhead Cheney. 3 of these pricks hanging from a fucking rope! I will now continue reading. Already in 2011, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban promised to serve justice on his socialist predecessors, who sold the nation's people into unending debt slavery under the lash of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the terrorist state of Israel. I don't want to blame all Israelis for the work of this prick, Benjamin Netanyahu. The elections are rigged there, and we should not favor the destruction of Israel. The Jews are good people, and I hate it when people blame an entire ethnic group or religious group. It's wrong. Be a little bit more discerning than that. As long as you have these creeps in power, Israel will be considered a terrorist state. And what every Jew should do is speak out against Netanyahu and the terrorists who are running Israel. They were directly involved in 9/11, and every Jew should speak out against it. Larry Silverstein said that the building was pulled. A 47-story office building with nothing wrong with it was pulled. Somebody planted those demolition charges, and it took months of planning to put them in the right places to bring down that building. And Larry Silverstein is guilty. Congress is guilty for not questioning him. He admitted publicly that the building was pulled, and Congress did shit. We need to dispose of Congress. We don't need representative government anymore. It's not serving the people. It is obsolete as a horse and fucking buggy. And it's time to end this archaic system. We upgraded every piece of office equipment. We have the latest computers in all of the business offices, and still we have a fucking government that is representative. As if the Capitol was a 3-day fucking ride on a horseback. And nobody in Congress even mentions changing this system, because they've got it made. They're all becoming millionaires. 300 of them have a Swiss bank account. This is fucking bullshit. If the Jews don't speak out, we're going to see anti-Semitism in Europe again. This means wholesale slaughter of the Jewish people. They better speak out against their leadership, because their leadership is corrupt. Mossad should be disbanded like the CIA. They are both criminal organizations. The CIA has control of the world heroin and cocaine, and they make $5 trillion a year from that business. You think you're going to uproot them easily? Not as long as we are paying all the fucking bills. I'll read the next sentence now. Those earlier administrations were riddled with Israelis in high places, to the fury of the masses, who finally elected Orban's Fidesz party in response. Well, this is anti-Semitism, and it's against the entire ethnic group, and this is wrong. I'm very surprised to see this catching fire in Hungary. I hope that the Hungarian people are more sensible than this. Targeting all Israelis, the Jews believe in education. They spend a lot of money and a lot of time to get a good education. It's part of their religion. This should be respected because it's correct. Now, other parts of the Orthodox Jewish beliefs is totally fucked up. And I don't agree. And I've had some very, very close Orthodox Jewish friends, and I became familiar with what they believe, and it is fucking nuts. But I didn't say that because that's their religion. It's private. He wasn't asking me to join his synagogue. He was just revealing to me some of the things that are totally fucked up. They believe that the world is some 5,000 or 6,000 years old. That is totally fucking nuts. And that's why I say religious people are mentally ill. I can be friends with them even if they're mentally ill when it comes to religion, because they believe things that are just totally wacko. But I don't like to see any world leader speaking out against an entire ethnic group. This is genocidal. Didn't we learn anything from the experience in Germany? Lending money is not usurious. Let me give you an example. If you have no money and someone lends you money and you buy seeds, seeds will grow in value 180,000% in a single month, and this enables you. And it doesn't hurt you to pay back the money with 100% interest per month because you have 180,000% growth in the value of those seeds. There are ways to make money in business. You can make more, you can create more value, that is, by planting the seeds than not having the seeds to plant. Interest is not a problem. And to refer to any group as usurers, implying that they charge too much interest, what I'm opposed to is a group that creates money out of thin air, they didn't fucking earn it, and then they're charging interest on it. That's the Federal Reserve. That is parasitic. And there's a big difference. Now let me read the next sentence because it will make more sense. According to a report on the German language website National Journal, Orban has now moved to unseat the usurers from their throne. Well, if he means the central bank, that's one thing. But I don't consider it usury. I consider it parasitism. Usury is when you charge way too much interest. When Lincoln was asked for 25% interest, that was usurious. And so what did he do? He knew the Constitution well enough to know that he had the power to print greenbacks, and he did, and he got killed. Because the bankers are very powerful, and they can get the job done. When I started this channel, I knew they would kill me, and I'm undaunted by that. Just about every night I dream that they're killing me. One day they will. When the videos stop, I'm dead. They fucking killed me. The popular nationalistic prime minister told the IMF that Hungary neither wants nor needs further assistance from that proxy of the Rothschild-owned Federal Reserve Bank. Thank you. That is a good move. But I am deeply disturbed by this attack on an entire ethnic group. It sounds like genocide again. Many good Jewish people were killed, and I might have been one of them. I feel so close an affinity to the Jews that I think I might have been one in the previous life. I might have died in a Nazi concentration camp. I cannot tell you who I was, where I lived. I just don't want to learn the German language, and I've learned other European languages, but I have no interest in learning German. I don't hate the German people. Sometimes when I talk about Nazis, the Germans take that personal. Well, in the future, they will be talking about Americans when they're talking about Nazis, and we, the people, are certainly not to blame. They took over. We didn't get together and vote on it. They orchestrated all the moves to seize power and control, and they're no different than any other dictatorship that moves in on a chance to gain control of the country. It is quite a trophy to conquer the United States of America. And we, the people, born free, should not take this. We all need to fight back, even if they kill us. We need to fight until our last breath. Until we're in the FEMA camp and we go to sleep and they turn on the gas in those airtight buildings. And they're all close to train stations, railway, and they will ship those bodies to Denver for cremation. That appears to be the setup. And they intend to get away with it, whereas Adolf Hitler got busted. From what I have read, Hitler won the Second World War and the CIA went back and changed it. And the South won the Civil War and they changed that too. Now, if you haven't read this stuff, don't give me your opinion until you've read it. Because the people who are testifying took part in the time travel. There are things in the future that will amaze you, and they are true. There are things in the present which amaze you, and they're false. And there are belief systems that have been put into your head that are also false. Most of us are living a false reality because of the controls that are in place. Let's continue. No longer will Hungarians be forced to pay usurious interest to private, unaccountable central bankers. Instead, the Hungarian government has assumed sovereignty over its currency and now issues money debt-free as it is needed. The results have been nothing short of remarkable. The nation's economy, formerly staggering under deep indebtedness, has recovered rapidly by means not seen since Germany. Now let me tell you what I believe. In this country, the United States of America, if we did the same thing and we took over, I'm not talking about Congress because I want them to get the fuck out. Pack your fucking shit and get out by tomorrow morning. You are not welcome anymore. You are pricks. You betrayed the people, and we want you to get the fuck out. Now, after Congress is gone, and we have we the people in there, then money is issued without interest to people who want to start a business and hire people and buy equipment. This will stimulate the economy, just like I just read about Hungary. They didn't go into any detail about how it was done, but listen to it again. The Hungarian government has assumed sovereignty over its own currency and now issues money debt-free as it is needed. Now, would that stimulate the economy or what? Fuck you, Obama, and your stimulus programs. You are full of shit. You are a foreigner. You don't belong in the White House. Get the fuck out and take your husband with you. We don't need you homosexuals in the White House. Get the fuck out. And the next paragraph said, I'm repeating what I read earlier, the nation's economy, formerly staggering under deep indebtedness, has recovered rapidly and by means not seen since Germany. If you are not in favor of ending the Fed and ending the interest on money created out of thin air, which finances all bribery, which finances killing of democratically elected leaders around the world, then you are a fucking nutcase. Get the fuck off my channel and don't ever fucking come back. We don't want you here. And for the rest of you who believe that we should end the fucking Fed once and for all, tell them to go fuck themselves on the interest they say we owe them, and tell them that they need to repatriate our gold that was in Fort Knox. 300 fucking trucks full of bullion. They took it. They said it was for safekeeping. Where is that safe gold now? And why wasn't the fucking gold safe at Fort Knox? 109 acres, military guarded. Why wasn't it safe there? The truth is they fucking stole it. That's the truth. We want our fucking gold back, and we want 10% interest every fucking year. And we will not pay war reparations for war crimes that you fuckers did. Okay, then there's a picture on the page. It says, the woman who shot Mussolini. I was not aware that a woman shot Mussolini. I recall that they hung his ass up by his toes in the town square, and everyone took a little jab at him with a stick or something, and they hacked his body to pieces. Now, what better way for a fascist to go out? Is that fucking glorious? I don't know who the woman was who shot Mussolini, and I don't favor shooting them. I favor a fair trial. And we the people should judge them and decide on their punishment. And hanging them upside down by their feet and letting the people form a procession by them and do whatever they want sounds okay to me. It's a little barbaric, but if they televise it and I get a chance to watch it, it would be the best fucking television show I ever saw. I don't like communists. I don't like socialists. I don't like fascists. I don't like totalitarians or tyrants or despots. Dictators can dangle from a fucking rope, and that satisfies me just fine. I'm not going to string up anybody. If I had my wish, it would be a fair trial. I'd pack their ass on a UFO and send them to the farthest planet known. We ask the aliens, what's the farthest motherfucker out there? Pack their ass up and put all their fucking fiat currency on the fucking ship with them. And send them to that place and let them all loose. No less than 1,000 feet above the ground. That's what they did to Andy Perro. Just fucking unload their shit. Hopefully they'll land on their money and bounce. But if they splatter on a rock, who gives a fuck? They have a better chance of surviving than many of their victims here, including Andy Perro. He is still alive, but they killed him several times. If you saw Project Superman on this channel, look in the playlists. for Project Superman, the Andy Perel story. There are about 10 or 20 videos. Then you will know what they did to him. And then you won't feel so merciful toward these pricks. I wouldn't kill them. I would just drop them out of an airplane without a parachute. Because I'm kind. And I would kind of like to see them splatter on the rocks. That's what makes me so kind. Now, I want to read a couple of articles here before I read the next paragraph. Bullet, Genocide, Iraq. 17,073 Muslim Sunnis have been murdered by Muslim Brotherhood ISIS in 2014. Does everybody in the fucking world know that ISIS is a CIA creation? Does everybody know that? How was it that the Al-Qaeda group just fucking retired? Can anybody explain that? It's because they're being controlled. They're being created and controlled by one entity. And you can follow the yellow brick road back to the Federal Reserve to find out who was in charge. Now, here's another article which surprises me because I never heard anything about this. U.S. Supreme Court decides with the Catholic Church and against Obamacare mandates. Probably has to do with abortion. It says April 2015. We don't need the Supreme Court. We have state Supreme Courts, and that's good enough. We want our laws local, not far away where people can be bribed with $200 million in a Swiss bank account. As far as I'm concerned, the entire U.S. Supreme Court is corrupt. It needs to be dissolved immediately. I want to dissolve the federal government and have 50 states independent and sovereign. That's the way it was originally intended. With the federal government hand-tied and gagged so that it could not do anything except 17 things. And look at them today. You have to ask their permission to take a fucking shit. And I'm sick of this fucking bullshit. If you're not angry, something is wrong with you. You might be under mind control. 95% of the people can be mind controlled, and that's the only thing that explains how people could stand by and watch what they're doing and not be deeply disturbed by it all. From war crimes to poisoning the air, the water, the vaccines, mandatory vaccines in California. What kind of fucking bullshit is this? If you're not angry about it, you're under mind control. They know how to do it. They perfected it at Montauk. Read about Montauk so you know what's going on. They perfected mind control, and then they pulled off 9/11 to see if it worked. It worked for a while, just like with Andy Perel, Kathy O'Brien, Bryce Taylor. They were all mind controlled, and it wore off in each case. In the case of Bryce Taylor, she had a car accident and started to remember. In the case of Andy Perel, he was bowling with his fucking buddy, and he looked up at a sign that says Rhino Balls. And he said, they used to call me Rhino. And his handler, who was his friend, his handler was working for the pricks. They had that tight of control over him. And he panicked when Andy Perel said the word rhino. They used to call me that. Now, if you've read the story, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't read the story, go to the playlist and look up Project Superman. Let's continue. The Hungarian Economic Ministry announced that it has, thanks to a disciplined budget policy, repaid on August 12th, 2013, the remaining 2.2 billion euros owed to the IMF well before the March 2014 due date. When was this article written? Orban declared, Hungary enjoys the trust of investors, unquote, by which is not meant the IMF, the Fed, or any other tentacle. Notice that word tentacle, it's alluding to octopus. Because in 1913, this image on your screen now was how they perceived the Federal Reserve System. It was not fucking federal, that was a lie. It was not a fucking reserve, that was a second lie. And it was not a system, it was a cartel. A private cartel that charged interest on money created out of thin air, and this is fucking bullshit. We have an $18 trillion debt now because the Federal Reserve lives lavishly as parasites off the rest of us. It's time for them to go. Now, after the emotional upset of seeing the word tentacle, Orban declared Hungary enjoys the trust of investors, unquote, by which is not meant the IMF, the Fed, or any other tentacle of the Rothschild financial empire. Rather, he was referring to investors who produce something in Hungary for Hungarians and cause true economic growth. I'm not religious, but I feel like saying amen there. Can I get an amen from you guys? Amen, brother. This is not the paper prosperity of plutocratic pirates, but the sort of production that actually employs people and improves their lives. And I think he's hinting at a TSA finger up your ass is not an improvement of your fucking life. I would like to put a finger in their eye. When you get home from the airport, record what they did to you and how they humiliated you, and put it up on YouTube as a video for all to hear. If you record your personal testimony, I will put it up on my channel. I have 42,000 subscribers now, over 17 million views, and I will be happy to air your emotional response to the way that you were treated by government anywhere, by the way you were treated by banks anywhere, by the way you were treated by the Veterans Administration anywhere. Let me help you air your complaints. And once again, don't forget to send out a message through the social networks. Let's go to the next card. It has a picture. Looks like Lenin on the left. I don't think it was John Lennon. It was the communist at the turn of the 20th century. I can't remember his first name. Last name was Lenin. And the other communist on the right there is a Kenyan-born homosexual who was installed as our fucking puppet, and he lives in our White House. We don't allow foreigners to live in the White House. So he needs to pack his fucking desk and get the fuck out. Jim Willie promised us he would not serve out his term. And here it is fucking June, and he's going to be there till December. I want him gone, and I want all of his executive orders revoked. And then they have a few words around this picture of Lenin and our communist puppet president. And the words are corporatism at the top. On the left it says communism, Nazi, and socialism. Fascism, Marxism, and stateism. I don't mind the stateism thing as long as it's not 50 states all yoked under one roof so that one motherfucker can control it all with one button to flip to tell his boy what to do next. I don't like that bullshit at all. We need to see something permanent done about gold because they are going to take it. The Federal Reserve is going to take it again. And since a small minority of people own the gold, the majority will go along with it because whenever these pricks pick on anybody, they always pick the minority that is unpopular. They pit the poor against the rich so that they can exploit this opportunity. They create the opportunity and then exploit it. Not everybody who has money is a crook. Some of them worked hard to get it. And I don't favor stripping them of their wealth. That destroys capital. It ruins the economy. There are no jobs without capital. Capital must be secure, and it's not in this country anymore. You drive down the road with $8,000, the cops know you've got it because they pick up the signal on the RFID chip, and they know you're carrying a lot of money. If you're going to carry a lot of money, look into the possibility that tinfoil wrapped around the money could prevent that signal from getting outside of the tinfoil. And another thing is to look into destruction of that chip with a microwave oven, because I've heard you can destroy the chip. They might have fixed it so that your money is no good unless the chip is working. So that's another fucking problem. But they are going to achieve totalitarian control whether you like it or not. Unless all of us oppose it, like Hungary is in this article, we are all doomed to a lifetime and many generations more of slavery. You must get active regarding this issue. All those words around these pictures of Lenin and the installed puppet of the USA, Kenyan-born homosexual Barry Soetoro, that's his real name, because he changed it legally and never changed it back to Barack Obama. He is living a fucking lie. Everything about this guy is a lie. But the 7 words around this are socialism, Nazi, communism, corporatism, stateism, Marxism, and fascism. All of those are enemies. Now, if you're a communist or a socialist or a Nazi or you're on the left, get the fuck off my channel. I don't want your fucking subscription. Get the fuck out. Unsubscribe and get your ass out of here. Who the fuck needs you? Freedom is the only thing that works for me. And all of these other systems are designed to control other people. They have no fucking right to control us. We have a right to live a free life. We don't have to show our fucking papers when we go from one country to another because it's our planet, not their planet. And then there's a bullet here. It says, the New World Order is communism, also known as Rothschildism, or more bluntly, robbery. I think slavery is more like it. And then the next bullet says, governing without consent, international banking cartel buying America with printed counterfeit fiat currency. That sounds like the kind of article I would read for this channel. If you have a channel, why don't you read all of these for your channel? I am up to my eyeballs in articles and things to produce. I have at least 200 projects that were started and not finished, and I'm trying to finish one so I can publish it today. It's about Ponzi schemes and cryptocurrencies. You go to the Bitcoin playlist on this channel to see all my videos. YouTube refuses to put out any of my videos in the search results. There is some deal going on between the fascists, the Nazis, the enslavers, and YouTube and Google. They're one entity. And you can't pull up one of my Bitcoin videos because I tell the truth, and they are scared shitless about Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a much better system. I'm going to read the next paragraph. With Hungary now free from the shackles of servitude to debt slavers, it is no wonder that the president of the Hungarian Central Bank, operated by the government for the public welfare and not private enrichment, has demanded that the IMF close its offices in that ancient European land. In addition, the State Attorney General, echoing Iceland's efforts, has brought charges against the last three previous prime ministers because of the criminal amount of debt into which they plunged the nation. Then there's a picture of, looks like Arabic. It might be the Persian language. I am not an expert. I can't tell. It looks Arab to me. And there's an Arab word on the left and one on the right and one below the two swords. I have no idea what it says. But there's a picture of Obama on the right wearing a Muslim cap. I don't know what it's called. I don't know many Muslims. I have no animosity whatsoever toward Muslims. I had a close friend for 28 years who was a Muslim, and he prayed 5 times a day with a cloth. He never tried to get me to become a Muslim. Never. And I appreciate that. These fucking Jesus freaks need to get the fuck off my doorstep. Stop knocking on my door. I don't want to join your fucking church. Go to your church and stay there until Jesus returns. Motherfucker. The caption at the bottom of the picture says, the sins of the Muslim Brotherhood, and then it says, Muslim Brotherhood officially became a political organization in 1939. It doesn't make it bad. It depends on what they do, right? Now we have a 1 and 2 under that. It says, Muslim Brotherhood documents could put Barack Obama, a.k.a. Barry Soetoro, in prison. Oh, that sounded so good. Let me read that again. Muslim Brotherhood documents could put Barack Obama, actually his name is Barry Soetoro, also known as Barack Obama, in prison. Isn't that word sweet? Put the motherfucker in prison. Where do I sign? Number 2. Documents reveal Obama legally paid $182,129,786 for 4 months of housing of illegal alien children, December 2014. Well, when it comes to kids, look out, because I defend all kids. I don't care if they're here legally or illegally. It doesn't matter to me. They deserve our protection as adults. That is a human thing. Never mind your racist prejudice against Mexicans. Mexicans are good people. Some of them are bad. Americans are good people, and some of them are bad. and some of them are very bad. And those who are in political positions of power are very, very bad, most of them. Save a few who are very, very good, and they are such a small minority that we might as well dispose of the whole thing, just dump it in the garbage and start over, because it is a worthless system, not worth saving. States should be sovereign, and we should bring our government back home and run it locally, and not belong to any large organization. Because in no time they will yoke us all under one roof and start taxing the hell out of us. $182 million is nothing. That's one fucking bomb. I'm talking about type of bomb. Now, besides those Muslim Brotherhood and bullets 1 and 2, we're back to the article about Hungary, and it says, the only step remaining, which would completely destroy the power of the banksters in Hungary, is for that country to implement a barter system for foreign exchange as existed in Germany under the National Socialists, that's the Nazi Party, and exists today in the Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, or BRICS International Economic Coalition. That also includes Singapore. I don't know why people always skip Singapore. Singapore is part of the BRICS coalition. Last paragraph before the American Free Press. And if the United States would follow the lead of Hungary, Americans could be freed from the usurer's tyranny and likewise hope for a return to peaceful prosperity. As soon as you stop funding the Federal Reserve, all the wars end. We send a pink slip over to Obama in the White House and tell him, you're fired, get the fuck out, and take your boyfriend with you, motherfucker. And that ends all the wars. You tell the military leaders, bring home all the troops. Everywhere, from 900 fucking military bases. If you divided those military bases up by population, California would have 108 fucking military bases overseas. Why does California need 108 military bases? Who is after California that they have to put 108 military bases around the world? This is fucking bullshit. This is crazy spending. That money should be in the Social Security Fund, giving retired people an income of $10,000 a month each instead of this 900 fucking military bases. State of Illinois, I think, has 62 military bases. It's in the heartland of America. Who the fuck is going to attack it? Wisconsin? 62 military bases, and these Illinoisans are paying for this. This is fucking bullshit. If you're from Illinois, what the fuck is wrong with you? Start complaining. Everybody needs to complain every day. I took a break and I'm back now. There's another image. In yellow it says, another angry voice. And they have a picture of Naomi Klein. And the caption is American Free Press. And then there's a quote. We are witnessing a transfer of wealth of unfathomable size. It is a transfer of wealth from public hands, from the hands of government, collected from regular people in the form of taxes, into the hands of the wealthiest corporations and individuals in the world. Needless to say, the very individuals and corporations that created the crises. And that is a quote, Naomi Klein. And then it says, Vatican versus Illuminati. Rothschild too big to jail? ? Russia, Iceland, Iran, China, and Hungary say no. And Iran executed one of the Rothschilds. I don't know much about the Rothschild family, but I highly doubt that they are single-handedly to blame. I think if you don't mention the Rockefellers and the Warburgs, track back who owns the Federal Reserve, and there you have the 300 families that are guilty. It's not just the Rothschilds. I think it's very ignorant and simple-minded to think that one family could do all of this. This is a conspiracy of gigantic proportions. It involves the Catholic Church. The Illuminati and the Vatican Church work together. And Svali, S-V-A-L-I, was part of the Illuminati, and she saw sacrifices of little kids, one little boy, at the Vatican. It was a warning to anybody that was coming into the Illuminati that this could happen to you if you don't obey. And so murder took place in the Vatican. And it doesn't surprise me, because what people believe about the Vatican is total bullshit. It's a false reality. The truth about the Vatican is horrible. I'm not interested in focusing all my efforts on the Vatican or the Catholic Church. But when they die, I know why. I won't be surprised, and I promise to cry. And then there's a picture of a Rothschild, apparently, with a gun in his hand. Looks like an antique. He says, anybody else care to discuss politics? And it looks like he just blew someone away. I haven't heard anything about them being violent. Now, if you have, then do post a comment and let us know what you know. If you have done an intensive study of the evils of the Rothschilds, then do let us know. But I see bigger culprits that have to go. And at his feet, we see a dead body with some blood, something in the background, looks like a Capitol building, and then a bullet says, I killed the bank. President Andrew Jackson, U.S. Vice President Aaron Burr shoots a Rothschild czar, Rothschild's bank agent, on in-law Alexander Hamilton. Well, apparently that is not a Rothschild, it is Andrew Jackson. And he was vice president at the time. And the dead man is Aaron Burr, because they did have a duel. No, that's not correct. Hamilton had a duel with Aaron Burr. So why is Aaron Burr on the ground dead and Andrew Jackson just killed him? Shoots a Rothschild czar, Rothschild's bank agent, on in-law Alexander Hamilton. Well, I can't figure it out, people, so I'm not going to continue trying to explain what this cartoon is all about. If you understand it, leave it in the comments. I will read it. I will guarantee that. And then there is a hand with only 3 fingers and a thumb, 2 eyes, and what looks like kind of a smile from a side view. And it says related articles. Boy, they give you a lot of articles to read here. This is a wealth of information, and it doesn't look like any of it is the Nazi Nightly News Network. First bullet, Obama continues delivery on military assault weapons to Kiev's Nazi rebels in Ukraine, February 19, 2015. Next bullet, exposing the New World Order, the impending Federal Reserve audit, February 28, 2015. If you ever saw the money they're spending, or you ever did try to do an accounting of all the money that they have created, you would see that the U.S. dollar is flooding the world. And if you're holding U.S. dollars, you might want to consider the facts. And these facts are pretty much hidden by the Federal Reserve. The audit is the first step in uncovering how evil, how much control they have. When they bribe a U.S. senator and put $200 million into a Swiss bank account for him to vote on the Patriot Act, for example, who is going to record that $200 million? And as he goes around investing that money in the stock market, the prices go up, don't they? You have too many dollars, chasing too few of goods, creating one gigantic bubble. And what happens when something like Bitcoin pulls all the money out of the stock market, pulls all the money out of real estate, pulls all the money out of stocks of large corporations, bonds, treasuries, and all of those collapse because they're not as good an investment as Bitcoin. There are only so many Bitcoins, and if you want to buy one, you have to find somebody willing to sell, and there is always somebody who will sell for the right price. Some people have some, and they would sell them for $1 million each, but you can buy them for less than $300 each on the open market. You're not going to pay $1 million until the open market Bitcoins dry up, like gold has. Gold is so scarce that COMEX has none, and the Chinese are paying 35% over the COMEX price. COMEX has no right to set the price if they have no gold to sell. This is corrupt. Next bullet says, Rolling Stone, Rothschild's corruption goes mainstream. If we're going to defeat any group, putting the truth out will undermine any dictatorship. Next bullet, the United States first inoculate Rothschild Central Bank up to 2013. I don't know what that means. It's impossible to understand what they're talking about. Next bullet. Muslim terrorist apparatus was created by U.S. intelligence CIA's a geopolitical weapon. Well, we know that all terrorist acts trace back to the CIA, and we know that the CIA is controlled completely by the Federal Reserve. They killed Kennedy. They used the CIA to cover it up. They had total control of enough people in Congress to own them. And they owned the Supreme Court, and they had the Supreme Court write up the Warren Report, which 82% of today's people don't believe. Next bullet says, Netanyahu, leader of Israel, the installed puppet in Israel. I won't be silenced on Rothschild's security. Rothschild's state of Israel has now bombed Syria twice. Don't know what they're talking about. China under U.S. umbrella. Don't know what that means. Obamacare website and the Ukrainian wheat farmers. Soviet Gorbachev's Agenda 21 within the U.S. doing the bidding of the Rothschild banking cabal. Don't know what that's about. President Vladimir Putin ends media abuses, opens Russia Today International News Agency. Vatican Catholic Radio Maria opens 11 new offices in 4 continents. I don't know what media abuses are. President Vladimir Putin ends media abuses. Opens Russia Today International News Agency. Been out for years. What are they talking about? Next bullet. Understanding Rothschild. The divide and conquer of the Khazars, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Next bullet. New global challenge. Can we de-Rothschild the world? Oh, can we de-Rothschild the world? Pravda.ru. Next bullet. Rothschild's New World Order Manifesto absconding the United States judicial system in an attempt to prevent incarceration blowback. Don't know what that's all about. I don't see anything else here. Do you guys? Oh, there's something at the bottom here. It says Pope Francis, antitrust money hoarding, urged the unemployed to fight for work. The unemployed are unemployed because of the political system, because of the banking system. The representative style of government has ruined America. The banking system has ruined capital. The Federal Reserve is responsible for destroying capital, which means that there's no money to lend to business startups, and the unemployment rate is over 30%. Here's a simple way to get the unemployment rate. Take the number of people on food stamps, because obviously they can't buy food. They're not employed. I don't care if they work a part-time job, they're not employed if they can't buy food. 47 million. Now what is the labor force? 156 million. Divide, you get 30%. That's the unemployment rate. And I'm not counting those who qualify for food stamps, but they don't have any gasoline to go down and apply for food stamps. Next bullet. Finland braces for end of New World Order Eurozone. Next bullet. Muslim Brotherhood appointed as $12 million senior secretary for U.S. Gestapo Homeland Security scheme. It is a Gestapo. It was named with a Nazi type of name by George Bush, who is a Nazi and is guilty of war crimes and should face trial at The Hague. And when his ass is dangling from a rope, justice will be served. And I want to see right next to him Dick Cheney, dangling from a rope because he never apologized for torture. It's in the Constitution, dickhead Cheney. Why don't you fucking read it? And I want to see Donald Rumsfeld also dangling from a rope. He is the one who gave the code. The enemy is at the door. It's a matter of life and death now, which means 9/11 is on. That's what he said when he was announcing the $2.7 trillion that just vanished from the Pentagon's budget. He said something that made no sense at all. I believe it was code to wake up all those who were hypnotized that this was a go and that tomorrow's event is on. And the next day, you know what happened, 9/11. Listen to his speech. The enemy is at the door. It's a matter of life and death now. Had nothing whatsoever to do with 2.7 trillion vanishing. It was code. And I haven't heard anybody else say that. Next bullet, exposed. Obama's brother Malik Obama, investor for Muslim Brotherhood's money. So we have a brother who says some bad things about Barack, and now we find out he's helping Barack by channeling money into the Muslim Brotherhood. Okay. Next bullet. Why Rothschild is trying to destroy the dollar for gold. Rothschild's handbook. Well, that sounds interesting, but this is giving way too much credit to one family, the Rothschilds. The problem is that the spider web is so complex, and I'm talking about the conspiracies that are all interwoven. There are thousands of organizations that are part of this. And you've seen someone map them out. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Let me put this on the screen. This is just the surface. There are many, many more organizations that are tied into these. If you're going to do research on this, it would probably fill 10 books. And nobody's going to read it because it's not interesting. But this is the network of control. Maybe some would call this the Matrix. Next article. Iceland continues to rise above Rothschild New World Order banking scheme. Hungary and Russia continue. If it's two, you have to use a plural verb. Hungary and Russia continue shutdown on Rothschild. Next bullet, Barack Obama. We're 5 days away from the fundamental transformation of the United States. When did he say that? Before His Highness signed an executive order saying that he can kill anybody at any time for any reason? What kind of fucking bullshit is this? Barack Obama announcing that we are 5 days away from a fundamental transformation of the United States. What's he going to do? Declare it a dictatorship? It's already been declared a fucking dictatorship. Next bullet, repeal bankers Obamacare now. Put your signature on the dotted line. Do not enroll. 21 states have nullified Obamacare. That's what we're leading to. The secession movement is very likely to go just like that, where 21 states say, fuck you on Obamacare. We need to say fuck you on all the executive orders, fuck you on Agenda 21, fuck you on the carbon tax, fuck you on mandatory vaccinations. And if the state of California is on the side of the dictatorships, we need to say fuck you, California. And then we have Jefferson emerging as a state in the north. We have about probably 5 more states popping up in the state of California to split from this state that I left because I had a real estate broker's license, and every year they assumed what I made and sent me a bill for it, the motherfuckers. And now mandatory vaccinations, fuck you. We need to say fuck you to anybody who mandates anything without our approval. We want final say on all legislation. All legislation. And if we don't get it, fuck you. Okay, we have 2 more on this card. They're repeating the one where the brother channeled money into the Muslim Brotherhood. I'm not going to read it again. Next bullet. Obama takes a hit. Egypt strikes back twice as hard. Court jails 52 political Muslim Brotherhood regime members. 11 get life sentences. Well, I don't know what's going on in Egypt. They threw out Mubarak after many years. He was just a puppet, in my opinion. I don't like long-term leaders unless they're doing good for the country, but Mubarak certainly was not. Let's go to the next card and see what's there. Obamacare's casino pig, 46% rather than half, and may rather than can, and plus conditions equals 2.9% covered. All right, so apparently there was a survey, and the use of words really tried to stack the deck. And they got caught. That's what it looks like to me. Let's go to the next bullet. Vladimir Putin's speech. 85% of the 1917 Soviet government was made up by Rothschild Jews. Jew being a misnomer. Zionists. Khazars being more accurate. Zionist Khazars. I see a lot of people trying to pin everything on Zionists or Jews, and I don't like it. It just stinks of anti-Semitism, and I don't approve of anti-Semitism. Now, a Semite is a Jew and an Arab. And so if you're anti-Semitic, you're against Jews and Arabs. But this word is being used only to mean prejudice against Jews. Anti-Semitic typically means against Jews. But the Semites are also Arabs. These 2 people are closely related. They should be the best of friends, and they are the worst of friends. All right, then they have the article we just read, and 3 more Hungary articles. Hungary breaks the bankster's shackles. Hungary issues debt-free money. Hungary sheds bankers' shackles. We already said that. Anyway, I'm tired of reading, and I thought there was more of the article here. Let me see if there is. Here's an interesting one. JFK killed after shutting down Rothschild's Federal Reserve. List of U.S. presidents murdered by the Rothschild's banking cartel. Well, it seems that the world is aiming their guns at the private cartel of bankers who in 1913 did a coup in America and took over the entire fucking world. And with this many people speaking out against them, I doubt that they can last much longer. It seems like the end of the road for the cartel of banking thieves. What we need to do is very quickly switch to a different system, let's say Bitcoin. And since they are enemies of Bitcoin, they're not likely to buy many of them. But they have the technology to steal all they want, because they have your passwords, and if you have a wallet, they can take your Bitcoin. Some people argue, no, they can't, and I think they can. There's a good debate there, and I would love to have it, because I want to know more. And the only way I can learn is by reading it myself, or having one of you point out my mistakes. And some of you have been very good at finding the flaws in my thinking. I said, for example, that there were 47 people per square mile, and it's actually 47 people per square kilometer. I got my units mixed up. There are about 100 people per square mile, and that's still not many. There are many articles here, and I'm not going to read them all because you can do that. I think I've read enough of them to make you know that this is a very interesting website with a lot to read. I will give you the URL in the video description, but let me go to the last page here. I had 27 cards, and this is the last one. Down at the bottom, 3 related articles, and I want to read the titles. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban removed Rothschild and IMF in 2011 to 2013. Ukrainian maiden-style terrorists, 2014, come to unseat. Let's read the middle one. German police officers take off helmets and marched with German citizens against Rothschild European Central Bank, validated. Isn't that wonderful news? Where's the date on that? I'd like to know when that happened. And the last one, Hungary turns off natural gas to Kiev, Ukraine. Kiev said yes to the devil. I don't know what that's all about. I don't read anything about the Ukraine. The only reason I know anything about the Ukraine is because Dr. Jim Willie talks about it a lot. And he explains what's going on there, and he has done extensive research, and he loves his job of finding this information. And he has a website called goldenjackass.com. And if you scroll down to the interviews, you can find the most recent one. If you do a search on YouTube, what you will get is a bunch of copies of copies of copies of copies, and they're all old. It's better to go to his website, goldenjackass.com, click on public section, go down to the interviews, and watch them in reverse chronological order, the most recent first, and then going back in time, you'll see what he predicted. He made 23 major predictions. 18 of them came true. I think he is qualified as your guru. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.